Welcome back to the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. Oh, it's going to be a fun show today. There's a lot to get into today. Um, First, well, let's start with the game, and then we'll obviously get to the elephant in the room, which is
Right.
Giannis, and this is still Plan A. But while people roll in, let's waste some time. Let's talk about the game yesterday. My boy D'Lo cooks. The Nets win. They lock themselves more or less. I know it's not officially locked into the sixth seed, but for all intents and purposes, they're locked into the sixth seed. That's where they're going to be. They're going to be drafting that sixth spot. Well, that's where they're going to enter the lottery. Who knows where they draft? But John, um, give me your thoughts on the game and then your reaction to the 10-point comeback in the fourth quarter to beat Dallas.
Listen. At the end of the day, it's always great to talk fun basketball. Happy April Fool's Day to everyone. I promise you, what we talk about today will not be anything but fools, unless you talk about the Brooklyn Nets front office. But yeah, shout out to the MVP of last night's game, Gary, and his amazing wife, who were in the front of the audience to watch all this. No wonder D'Lo was playing so well. He's like, my guy Gary over there wearing my jersey. Of course, I got to overperform in that quarter, come back with a 10-point deficit. Yeah, listen, this is what's been on par for the course this year with Jordy. Always has a game plan against all the teams. The Mavs been snake bitten all year by injuries, and clearly they were dealing with some with Gafford's knee flaring up towards the end of the game. And this younger Nets, scrappier Nets team just had the energy at the end to force a comeback, and they just had more in the tank to ultimately win by a narrow margin again. So at the end of the day, we're kind of stuck with the sixth odds right now. So I guess the team is just trying to build off what they can build off, and Jordy wants to take advantage of every game to end the season.
I guess. I mean, look, I'm not the biggest tanking guy. I was kind of on board with tanking. No one wants to win games anymore. Nobody. It doesn't even make sense. They sat Cam Johnson. Look, I went to 3 games this year, and none of those 3 games did Cam Thomas play, and D'Lo only played in one of them. But why is D'Lo playing? He won him the game with his shooting, and then the dish to Claxton towards the end. D'Lo won him the game. Why is he playing? Like, it doesn't even make. Why are you not playing the rookies? Like, why is he playing? I don't understand why he's playing.
Again, one of the biggest questions we still wish would be answered by his front office. Maybe in the exit interview, Sean will tell us what he actually thought of this whole deal move and why he gave him so much time that he did to an expiring contract. But yeah, at this point, we're locked in with the six odds. We don't really have any backups. Killian Hayes, he's dealing with an ankle injury. He should probably have D'Lo's spot right now, but unfortunately, with the way the season's ending, Jordy has full control right now of the team. In his mind, he wants the vets to play as mentors on the court, help these young guys. And the crazy thing is, I thought we were supposed to evaluate the players. So I think Jordy's message, quite honestly, has been hypocritical. So with D'Lo playing the way he was, I'd rather just been the young guys last night. If they would have won, they earned that win. And I'll even give some of the guys credit. Drew Timmy played good last night. Whitehead had a few buckets. Lewis gave you energy. Tyrese Martin, another consistent performance. So some of the young guys did contribute last night towards the end. But D'Lo, like you said, he played a crucial role. He threw out 11 assists. And that's been our problem is that the vets have played too many minutes this year. And a lot of the wins this year, 20-plus wins, have been because of the vets mainly, with the young guys sprinkling in some things here or there. And you wonder, if this is supposed to be a player evaluation, why are the vets being a part of that when they're supposed to be more mentor and laid back there on that end? But this is what Jordy's running with. The vets have a certain amount of control as far as orchestrating the offense, and this is what they're rolling with, Gary. It doesn't make sense, but right now, the way the season's almost over, it's still not making sense.
Oh, by the way, I got to meet Drew Timmy is from Richardson, Texas, which is about 10 minutes from
Hey,
Dallas. I got to meet his sister and his brother. I
nice.
walked out, his aunt was there. They're wearing Gonzaga gear. I was like, Drew Timmy fans, and they were like, yeah. And then
Did you
like
invite
they
him on
came
the
up.
show?
I should have. I should have.
Oh, Gary, no! Oh my gosh,
This
this was a
guy,
golden opportunity.
Drew Timmy's brother. So this guy that's like 6'8", and this girl that's like 6'2", walk up and give him a hug. I'm like, that's Drew Timmy's brother, and the aunt was
Wow.
like, yeah, and that's the sister. So I got like they're both like the sister was like 6'2", and the brother's like 6'8". They're all huge, and the
Runs in the
girl looked
family.
just like him. Yeah.
I understand what
Um.
that feels like. Oh,
But my point is, even if you're eliminated from everything. The only goal left for this year, even if you were the most anti-tank person in the world, you're eliminated. The only thing left that you can do is give Drake Whitehead minutes. The only thing you can do is give Tyson Etienne minutes. The only thing left to do is put him on the court, let them get some experience, let them get some burn, and see how they look. Why are we doing anything other than that? Like, I'm glad to a degree I got to see my boy D'Lo, but like, why? What? D'Lo's been in the league for 9 years. We know what D'Lo is. Why is he? I don't understand. Like, what the thought pattern is to playing him. Like, what do you gain by playing him?
It's so confusing, but just looking at what we're going to talk about in our next topic is just it seems like whatever this was, this tank, not tank, it seems like this was always plan B, which is crazy. But this is supposed to be plan A. And just by the way, everything's so contradictive, the messages all over the place. It feels like the lottery and the draft isn't as important as we all thought it was. We all believed it was going to be super important, but the way the front offices run things, it feels like it's like we'll just draft who we're going to draft and develop them like we always do, and then eventually go after a bigger fish. But in a draft that's looking really, really good, protecting his lottery pick should have meant a whole lot more. Now we have the sixth odds, and this is what we're trying to allude to. Right now with the sixth pick, in the last 6 years since they changed the whole lottery system up, that sixth pick has been 6, 7, 8, or 9, has not fallen anywhere below 5. And now if you keep winning games, you're pretty much you're guaranteed a higher chance of getting a pick around 6 through 8 than you are a pick 1 through 4. And winning these games like this, it just doesn't make sense. But the way the front office has run things, you can't go back. Now on May 12th, we will deal with the consequences of this front office's ineptitude to actually control the situation, limit the vets' minutes, and actually let the young guys get more run. And unfortunately, now this is the time where the consequences really start rearing its head. So if you don't get a top pick, it's not because this team didn't try here or there. It's just the front office didn't try harder to tank.
I want to address two things here. First, Dylan, shout out Dylan, was like, I wish more than anything that he could be here to listen to him cook the Nets. Unfortunately, he's at work right now at his big boy job. But he says, I hate this organization. I know, Dylan, I feel that, bro. I feel that. I was not the biggest. You guys know I wasn't the biggest. I was like reluctantly going along with the tank, but I was looking for some reason not to tank, right? Like, give me a reason I don't want to tank, but I can't think of one. And then they got into one game within the half a game or one game of the play-in with the Bulls or whatever it was. It was like, all right, tank's off. Let's go for the play-in. And then they lost 7 in a row. And I was like, all right, let's tank. And now they've won 2 in a row. Everything they do is ass backwards here, John. Everything is backwards. It's like, none of this even makes sense, right? The fact that Reese Beekman and Tyson Etienne didn't play, and you had Claxton, who we'll get into, actually was a +6 yesterday. We'll look at that in a minute. That you had Claxton and you had D'Lo playing. Whose fault is that? Is that Marks' fault or is that Jordy's fault?
I would say it's a combination. I'm not going to throw everything on George, because look what's going on with the coaches in the NBA. A lot of good coaches have been fired recently because they're the scapegoat target. So I can understand to agree why Jordy asserted some of his power when he signed with Brooklyn. Like, he set terms that Sean Marks had to abide to, or else he wasn't going to sign with us, right? So you think about what Jordy's trying to do. He's trying to establish his legacy. He didn't want to crap out or tank. But at the end of the day, this is why the front office needs to take charge of the situation. Look what Memphis is doing right now. They're probably going to – that whole thing's probably going to break up. But they basically told the coach and the star, we're orchestrating the game plan. You guys have to follow it. And they're actually playing good basketball. It's just they're just dealing with a lot of bad stuff right now in the organization. But you look at us right now. Sean and Joe haven't really asserted any control this year. They've been very laid back and lackadaisical. And the only moves they made was trading Dennis and Doe for some second-round picks, Steelo jerseys, and potato chips. That's it. They really didn't do anything else. Oh, they bought out Ben Simmons, a guy who nearly destroyed our future. That was a great one on that one, too. But other than that, they haven't done much this year. So Jordy really has been running the ship and orchestrating. I give Jordy his credit to win more than 20 games when everybody thought he was going to win less than 18 or 14. Shout out to Jordy on that for making the pieces work. But at the end of the day, the pieces were not supposed to work like this. And that's why it's on the front office to step in and try to do something about it. But we've seen the last few years that the front office has lost a lot of control with stars, with role players, and now with coaches. And that's on them. So if this doesn't change, we're kind of stuck with doing ass-word, backward things at this point.
I got to address this. Boy Wonder, Connor Long, NYJ Flight
Wow.
Talk. My man, I was going to respond, Connor. I could never get mad at you. Boy Wonder, the 13-year-old that I've had on the show many, many times, who came on once a week in the offseason. I took a job covering the Knicks, writing for them every day. I'm still a diehard Nets fan. I'm not mad at you, Connor. I'm a little irritated, but I ain't mad at you, bro. Do what you got to do. Keep up the good work, man. You got bright future. Sky's the limit for you. I'm a little saddened. I'm not mad at you. I'm a little saddened, Connor Long. But keep up the good work, my man.
Yeah, you're a good kid,
Uh,
Connor. Good luck on your over there. Just if you were a little older, we'd probably be a little more stingent, but we'll give you a pass.
you gotta do what you gotta do. A job is a job, and he's going in the right direction and lives in Nick country. Unfortunately, Brooklyn Nets have not taken over New York yet, but they will. They will. I wanted to just two other comments real quick. Obviously, the theme of the show in a little bit is going to be Giannis. Giannis to the Thunder. Well, not if they win the championship, I don't think. Like, if you won the championship, which I think my pick right now is Oklahoma City wins the championship. If they win the championship, they wouldn't break up the team and get Giannis. You don't think, right? If they got to the finals, would they go get Giannis? If they lost during the Western Conference playoffs, I agree. They're going to get Giannis. But if they make it to the finals or if they win the finals, would they break up that team to go get Giannis? Because it's going to cost you everything.
Right. It's a very interesting thing, but the only thing that makes it so tricky is that I've heard no sources really say that Giannis has ever looked at OKC as a destination I want to go to. And I would think, listen, at the end of the day, the Bucks want the best haul possible. Given the fact that Giannis stood up and win a title, he didn't need other huge co-stars to win that title. He definitely has a say in where he wants to go. Let's remember, this is a players' organization, and superstars have dictated a lot where they wanted to go. So as much as OKC could give up that haul for him, if Giannis doesn't want to go there, I don't think OKC can force his hand unless they really. I mean, the Bucks can force it unless they really want all that. But yeah, OKC makes sense. It's just, does Giannis see them as where he wants to go?
And Giannis said he wants all the top Euros to be in big markets. Oklahoma City is the opposite of a big market. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Oklahoma City. I have. It's only a couple hours from me. If you ever get the chance to go to Oklahoma City, skip it.
Gary will go to a Dallas game, but he ain't driving no cold ass OKC.
I'm not going to OKC.
But yeah, that's the interesting thing. Giannis did say that he wants all the top Euro guys to be able to top market. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But look at OKC; they're great right now. If they are even in the finals this year and don't win, were they really gonna break that all up just to have Giannis and not be in the finals the following year? There's no guarantee. You're gonna have to give up a whole lot to get Giannis. Like, you have to give up maybe 6 first-round picks, Jalen Williams, maybe one of Alex Caruso or Hartenstein. Give up a whole lot there. Is it worth focusing around? They don't have to do it right now, especially if they get to the finals or if they win, like Gary said. And does Giannis want to go there? We've heard no concrete evidence that Giannis has them as a preferred destination. So that's something to look out for too.
The Giannis to Brooklyn thing, I'm not saying it's going to happen. You know, I don't know what Dallas, look, if Milwaukee is looking to stay relevant, Nets don't have a package for them. If they're looking to completely tear it down and start over again and get rid of Dame too and just start from the absolute bottom, the Nets have the package for them. So it depends on what Milwaukee is looking to do. Right? If Milwaukee said, look, we're a small market team, we won a championship, we can stay relevant, we can be a 50-win team, a 48-win team for years to come. Let's just do that. And hopefully one of these later picks work out. We can stay relevant. Kind of like Portland does. I know Portland sucks now, but for 30 years, Portland was kind of relevant, right?
Right.
Small market team, like the Pacers do every year. The Pacers ain't winning a championship, but they're relevant every year. Like, they're in the mix every year. Does Milwaukee want to try to do that? Or they want to say, if things go right, we can win a championship. So let's tear it all down. I mean, to the nuts and bolts, and let's start again. If that's what they decide, then Giannis is going to Brooklyn. If not, then he's going to a team that can compete. So, and they're going to get back players. Like I said, the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns and Bridges. That's a trade. Will the Knicks do it? I don't know. But there's a trade. I would say that if the Knicks falter in the first 2 rounds, which I think they're going to, they would have to. At that point, Karl Anthony Towns and Bridges for Giannis would be, if Milwaukee's looking to stay relevant. That's a trade they'd have to strongly consider.
I think they would definitely consider it, but I think they want the picks. Having the capital in this new CB era is your big currency, right? As much fun as we'd have Towns and Bridges to still be competitive, Towns, he's a defensive liability, and Bridges, he is not a top 3rd or 4th option. Like, the way he's played the season, he's mostly been a 5th option. He's gotten cooked by all the best teams. So, yes, it would keep the Bucks playing competitive, but they would just be denying the inevitable until they have to give those guys up for more capital down the line. But you're not going to get valuable capital down the line for Towns and Bridges if you do that move. So your best move would be get the best haul for Giannis you possibly can. That's why I feel like a team like Brooklyn or a team like Miami or OKC are those three teams in my mind that have the assets to potentially get Giannis. I would throw in the Rockets, but I heard something that the Rockets don't want to break their whole young core up for Giannis. So I don't see them making a move for Giannis. I can see maybe for KD, but other than that, I think Miami, OKC, and Brooklyn are kind of where I can see Giannis end up in this summer or a year from now.
Yeah, if I'm Houston, if I'm Houston, I'm getting closer. I'm taking major strides every year. I would not break all of this up for Giannis, whose window, his time frame doesn't match what I'm doing, right? Oklahoma City is different because Oklahoma City is, I already think, the best team in basketball from a roster perspective. Like, if they don't win, if they don't get to the finals, and they have a chance to get Giannis and put him with Shea, I mean, that's going to be really, really hard to beat. And then Shea, like, what they would have is crazy. I don't know who'd have to go. Maybe Jalen Williams would have to go. I don't know who'd have to go in that trade. But if you could put Shea and Giannis together and keep Chet, I mean, you got to be the favorite for every year that Giannis is still left, right? Like, the next 5 years, you're the favorite to win.
Right, but you would definitely over the second apron. You wouldn't be able to sign anybody in the battle market. So your bench would have to be, your bench could take a lot of hits there.
Yeah, you'd have to win with what you have. But I mean, they have the deepest roster in the NBA, so I can still give you a bunch of pieces. I still got my picks coming in. I know a lot of those would have to go, but what I'm saying is I would still have a lot left.
Right.
After the honest trade.
They would definitely have cards to play. I just think for OKC right now, they're in a good spot. But here's the thing, though: if we want to get back to normalcy with our real direction, you would hope OKC takes Giannis this summer. Then we could be like, okay, dodge something there. But at the same time, if OKC don't want him, you start looking at the Nets, Miami, and I guess Nets, Miami, because those are the two preferred destinations that Giannis had. And if he has to say where he wants to go, normally superstars have to say where they want to go. You should get to one of those two spots. So as much as OKC even want him, I don't think Giannis would want them just because he wants to be in a big market and he likes those types of lifestyles and all that because it's where he gets to play his best basketball. So it's going to be crazy to try to figure out where he's going to go if he has out this summer. But just look at where the Bucks are right now. Giannis threw his towel on the court the other day when they got obliterated by the Hawks. The end is near for Giannis with the Bucks. The Kyle Kuzma move has been a complete dud. He is not a second or third option. Where NBA Central, I don't know if they were doing an April Fool's Day prank, but they wrote the new big three: Giannis, Dame, and Kuzma. And I was like, this is over. Like, if Kuzma is your third option, you're done there at that point. And with Dame Lillard, prayers up to him. Hope he gets healthy. But without Dame, he's got a $60 million option coming up this summer. Him and Giannis will be making over $100 million next summer. And what's the luxury bill? Like $170 million or something? The Bucks essentially have maybe 60, 70 million to have to spend to build a team around those two guys. So just the way it's looking, if the Bucks get embarrassed by the Knicks in the first round, I would be shocked if Giannis stays on with them going to next season. I would just be shocked at that point. I feel like the end is near for him, and this could be the summer of Giannis if he has that.
I want to transition back to the game real quick, but I want to address Mark's comment in the chat first. What we can provide the Bucks that no team can provide them is cap relief. Yes, that is true. But what you're assuming with that is that the Bucks want to rebuild. What if the Bucks want to stay competitive? They can do that. They can trade him to the Knicks, they can trade him to the Thunder, and they can stay competitive. So, I mean, do they want cap relief for a rebuild or do they want to stay competitive? I don't know. I mean, unless you guys know something that I don't know about the Bucks internally, I don't know what they're looking to do. Maybe they want a hard reset, but they still have Dame, one of the 75 greatest players of all time, locked up. So if I want to bring, if I brought in Bridges and Cat, I got to pick three. I'm going to stay competitive. You know, I got 2 stars and a role player. Like I'm staying competitive. I might not win a championship, but I'm pretty damn good. Like, I'm a 50-win team.
Yeah, the Bucks definitely have some options there to stay competitive or to just break it all down. I think, though, the smart thing is to break it all down because Damian Lillard is going to be making $60 million this summer. You hope his health gets back to normal, but still, he's going to be 35 years old. You're really going to pay Dame, who plays no defense whatsoever, and give you some more offensive things here. You're really going to pay him. He's going to be taking up most of the salary. He'll essentially be taking up 2 to 3 salaries on one $60 million contract. And I just think at this point for the Bucks, it makes no sense to stay competitive. Get what you
But
can for
here's the
Dame,
thing.
get the haul you can for Giannis, and just move on.
It's the
Like they
same
had the
thing with
time.
it's the same thing with Embiid in Philly. If you wanted to trade Dame, the time to do it was last year. Now his value is all the way down. I
Right.
love Dame. I'm a big Dame guy. I'm a Dame truther. His best days are clearly behind him. Not that he's not a very good player. Dame time is over.
Yeah.
It's over, right? Like he's no longer the player that he once was, which I thought was one of the greatest scoring point guards to ever live. Probably the second greatest scoring point guard that's ever lived. I'm a huge Dame guy, but that's done with now, right? Like
Right.
he's no longer that guy. So now, if I'm going to trade for him, I'll trade for him. But you're going to take on some bad salary too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Embiid. If you were going to trade Embiid, and me and DJ used to talk about this on BK's show, if you're going to trade Embiid and build around Maxey, the time was to do it was before the season started. Now his value is way down. Now, in order to get rid of that guy, you're going to have to take on bad salary instead of just standing out there and looking at offers and taking the best one. If you want to trade Embiid, if you want to trade Dame, I think you can still do it. But you're going to have to take on Zach LaVine's contract. You're going to have to do something like that because, you know what I'm saying? The Embiid contract and the Dame contract are now bad contracts. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely would, and I don't even know what you could get back for him. It's when he's making $60 million next summer. He's got some health worries. Like, what is the team really going to give up for the guy? Maybe 2 first-round picks and a bad salary. I mean, that's putting it generous with Damian Lillard, and he's accomplished a good amount in the NBA, but he's never won the title, and he hasn't done it as a primary option. Now he's essentially a secondary star option. You don't have to give up a massive, anything close to massive, or even a general haul for Dame. Just give up 2 firsts and match the salary, and you call it a day. That's the only out the Bucks have there, and it's not even much to even build around Giannis. So really, at this point, it feels like the end is near. Giannis won a title with them, but they couldn't build anything afterwards. And bringing Dame, he was supposed to give him a window, and they had zero chemistry the previous year. I think they talked till last summer. So this season they played a little better together, but still, Giannis has been the main reason why the Bucks were even a top seed this year. You take Giannis off that team, they would have been a 9th or 10th playing team this year if he wasn't playing all the minutes and playing exceptional ball. So I just feel like for the Bucks, a divorce is imminent. You have to get back the best hole you can and move forward. I don't think being competitive will do the Bucks much good. Rebuilding, start from scratch, might give them a chance at a fresh start. Feels like that's the only way they can go about it at this point.
I wanna transition back to the game real quick. I had a couple thoughts on the game. First, Nick Claxton. I said I'm gonna do this every game, and I'm gonna give him his kudos. It was a +6 yesterday. 2 for 6 from the field, 2 for 5 from the line, 7 rebounds. He had 1 block. I think he had a couple blocks. 1 block, 6 points. Nick Claxton, highest paid player on the team. Thank you for the effort, Nick Claxton.
Only 6 shots.
Yeah, I told you I would give him his credit when he deserves his credit. I will do this every game. He was a +6 yesterday. All right. So a couple of things. First, Drew Timme really looks like he can be an NBA player. I got to meet his family, his brother and his sister after the game. But 4 for 8 from the field, hit another 3-pointer, couple rebounds. Like he's playing relatively well. Are they going to keep him for salary reasons? Well, first of all, give me your thoughts on what Drew Timme's done here in a very short sample size. And are they going to keep him and let Sharp walk for salary reasons?
Another very interesting topic that we'll definitely delve into this summer because Dayron's future really is in question, and it's unfortunate he couldn't finish the season because we maybe seen more of what he could do as a starter. Now you got Drew Timme, the new kid on the block. Drew, give me the ball, Timme. Kid's been good so far. Just the energy's consistent. The effort is very consistent. He's made a few threes. He's made some important buckets. Last night he made some important buckets in the fourth quarter. Just the energy and the belief in himself. This guy wants to be a NBA player. That's been his real message. I don't want to be in the G League. I want to be competing with the best of the best. Now, the good thing is he's on a 2-year, 2-way contract, so we will probably keep him just because he's on a 2-way. And next year, if he gets more minutes and does well, you could potentially see him as maybe the backup center of this team. If we don't draft the center in this draft, maybe Drew Timme is a potential backup option for us, and he can just give you some versatility. So I like what Timmy's given us. Keep it going. Like, just erase every game from your mind. It's a new day, and keep giving the effort and showing why you want to be a Brooklyn Net. I like Timmy's attitude, and just keep going forward. Don't get a big ego just because you're playing well and you're very young and nobody really knows who you are. Just keep going forward and giving the same effort. This is what I wanted to see this year with guys like Timmy. Get the time and see what you can do. We're trying to find out who the next net are, and when you have the vets take up all these minutes, you feel bad for guys like Timmy who could have been here 20 games ago, but now is better than never, and just keep giving the effort. I like what he's giving you so far.
The next, Keon Johnson had a big game. What do you end up with? 24 points, 10 and 19. So efficient shooting, 24 points. Great hustle all day. Good defense. You know what I think of Keon Johnson? I don't think he's an NBA player. But when he does have good games like this, he looks pretty good. What are your thoughts on Keon? And is he gonna? I mean, he's gonna be here next year again, correct? So I mean, this is something that give me your thoughts on Keon. I don't want to plug in the well here. Yeah.
I truly don't know with Keon. I feel like it's just been a mixed bag this year. He's had some impressive efforts, right? I think this was his 10th game with 20 points, so he's grown there on the offensive end a bit. But if you look at his real splits, it's like he took a lot of shots this year. Like there was some games where this guy just took like over 20, 30 shots, and he only made 6 of them. Like that wasn't the Keon Johnson I liked. The efficient Keon Johnson I've seen this year, much better. Like he's able to dunk at the rim. He's able to give you that defensive energy. He's confused some of the best guards in this league when he guards them sometimes. So he's definitely giving you a lot of defensive effort. Maybe there's a chance he comes back. But if we're looking at him as being a main player, I really don't know at this point. Maybe at worst a backup piece potentially, but nowhere near a starter. And if we draft well this summer or we change that direction completely, will Keon get those main minutes at all, even as a backup? I really don't know what Keon Johnson's future is, but I think he's done enough this year to extend his career in the NBA. I think that's for sure because he's giving you effort and showing you what he can do defensively. Now, the offense, it's still inconsistent, but this was probably one of his best performances of the season. But I still don't know if Keon will be a piece on this team right now, especially when there's a whole other people fighting for spots as well.
I want to just mark something. Gary, sounds like you're coming around on Keon as an NBA player a little. Am I hearing that right?
Oh yeah, yes, he's a superstar. Mark, listen, the Keon Johnson. Oh my gosh,
like that much, like that much. I still don't really think it like that much. He can't shoot at all. That is evident. Again, even when he had a good day, he was 2 for 8 from 3. That's shot a lot. How many threes did the Nets end up shooting yesterday?
We made 20 out of 51 with 39.2%. Wow.
And yeah, like that's a lot of threes. So they shot 51 threes and 39 twos.
Yeah.
I just don't think, big picture wise, that's a winning formula. I don't think that's great basketball, but it worked today or yesterday in that sense. The last thing I wanted to address was Derek Whitehead. Is he developing a role, a niche, as a 3-point shooting wing? Like, is that what he's going to do? Just stand at the wing and look? I know he had horrible injuries and stuff, and that set him back, and that kind of changed the direction of his career. But is that a role that he can play? Just shooting it, because all of his shots mostly are threes from the wing. Is that what we can expect from him? And what are your thoughts on? I mean, he's a late first round pick, so if that's what he is, that's what he is.
I mean, if we're being honest about Derek White, this is probably the lowest his value is since he was a potential top prospect in the draft before he got hurt. And now, like, if he's just a 3-point shooter at this point, that's really not much to go off of. Like, I hope this summer he really can rehabilitate his body and be as healthy as possible going to next year, especially with training camp, because he has to show he's ready to have a real role. I really can't say he has a role right now. Yes, he's making some threes here or there, but he also just looks awkward at certain times with dribbling the ball. You wonder if his legs are fully healed. He just doesn't look as comfortable out there right now. And I wish he would take more advantage of these opportunities. I feel like he's trying to be perfect right now instead of just letting what he's done in the G League come to the surface. When you're trying to be perfect like that, you tend to make a lot more mistakes or not be as aggressive. And I really can't give a fair assessment of Whitehead having any role right now, because if you draft this summer or do something completely crazy this summer, is Whitehead going to be a main piece off a bench right now? No, I don't see. I see a third stringer right now trying to survive and get a role for the future. So I hope Whitehead, maybe he has a game in these last remaining 6 where he has a really good game, and that could be something to go off of. But right now, it's tough to see him because I feel like he's on the bubble right now, and he's just not taking advantage even of the time he's given right now. So it's hard to see if Whitehead will have a role unless he's fully healthy going to training camp next year.
He's growing into his man body and shaking off the rust. I don't disagree. Hopefully not. He's just doing the basics. Hopefully. Here's a concern I have with him. He wanted to stay in the G League and develop his game. Okay, a lot of y'all like that. To me, it doesn't inspire confidence.
Right.
You're a first round pick. You were the number one or number two, depending on who you ask, player in your high school class. Don't you think that you can do this at the highest level? Like, let me break the news to you that I'm going to keep you in the G League for the rest of the year for the development of your team, and then you can come back and have a bigger role. Let me suggest the idea, right? Like it's like when a fighter suggests you stop the fight instead of the corner directing you to stop the fight, right? It's like, huh? Don't you think that you can do this at the highest level? If you don't, like basketball, shooting, it's confidence. If you don't have the confidence in yourself, you're not going to max yourself out, right? You're going to play
Right.
scared. You're going to play within a very tight role. Like to me, that's not confidence inspiring. I have questions, and look, if he's just doing the basics, if he's just accepting this role, you guys might view that as a good thing. I really don't. I view it as a guy that lacks confidence in himself off those injuries. John, what do you think?
Yeah, he just looks uncomfortable, not as aggressive, like you said, and you want to take advantage of that. But when he told them specifically, I want to stay in the G League, I understand getting healthy and all that, but you had a golden opportunity to come up and play main minutes. The best type of experience is main minutes. And even the fact we weren't supposed to be competing for anything this year, and we're half game out of play, and he kind of just was stuck in the G League. And I feel like right now he's 2 years behind the eight ball, and now he's going to his third year where he hasn't played more than 20 games so far, and that's not good at all. So if he's not healthy going to training camp next year and he's not playing off the bench at least next year, I can't really see a long-term future with Dariq Whitehead. And it's unfortunate the injuries caught up because he could have potentially been one of the most promising prospects in the NBA. But we're not seeing that right now because he's not playing consistent minutes and he's a little hesitant to score or unless he's shooting the three-point ball. If he can get into his versatile offense that made him a fun guard coming into the league, then maybe he's got something to work with. But right now, just being so passive as he is, it's not a good sign right now. And you want to see this guy have confidence. But if he does have confidence or good health going to next year, it really was another bad draft decision by Marks that he's going to have to accept at that point.
Yeah, look, it's a late first round. He took a gamble on a guy with high upside. The injuries apparently got him. I'm not saying his career's over. I'm saying if that turns out to be that way. But right now, what he is, and I don't mean to disparage the guy, is Anthony Morrow, who's not that good at shooting threes. Like he's not a horrible shooter, but he's not that good at 3-point shooter. So he's Anthony Morrow. If Anthony Morrow wasn't that good at shooting threes, it's like that's not a very good player. That's not very good, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
it's tough right now. And you also have guys like Maxwell Lewis, who's actually got minutes this year when he was out with an injury, right, Gary? He was out with injury. They
yeah.
couldn't season. He came back and he was getting main minutes. And now Whitehead's going like, damn, maybe I should have took that opportunity because this kid's fighting for the spot I'm fighting for right now. And that's what me and Gary are alluding to. If you had the chance, you should have took. Even if you were still getting healthy, now you have a kid like Maxwell Lewis fighting for the position you're fighting for, which is to have a role in his team. And that could potentially ask you out. Even though Maxwell Lewis, he hasn't played as much as Whitehead, and they haven't played a lot either. Right now, Lewis is trying to fight for spot too. So now Whitehead is even more behind the eight ball and trying to catch up there. And that's what we're alluding to.
All right, so I want to just Mark's comments. I think these are good comments, both of them. You can't write Whitehead off yet. Essentially, next year, I agree. I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying what I see right now and what he's given me as far as I want to be in the G League. To me, isn't confidence inspiring. I'm rooting for the guy. I'm a Nets fan. I want him to be the best player in his high school class. I want him to be that guy again. I'm not writing him off. I'm just assessing what he's done and what he said so far. I'm not writing him off. I don't think John is either. Correct?
Yeah, and he's going to be a junior going to next year. I'm not going to say it's his first rookie year. He's been in the league 2 years. I know some people did that with Thomas when, this is his first year starting. He's been in the year for 4 years. Like, be fair, guys. At the end of the day, he's a junior going to a very important year where he has to prove he could be healthy. And that's the logistics, especially when we're supposed to draft well. Like, now he's even more behind the eight ball. This next year, he has to show he can hold down the role or else he might be traded somewhere else. That's just the way it is at the end of the day. The NBA waits for nobody. You either catch up or you don't.
And then the other thing I wanted to address was this comment here. He's not going to be given the minutes or the role to regain confidence in his body to allow his abilities to progress. Not every path is the same. He's not going to be given the minutes or the role to regain his confidence. I agree with you, Mark. But the question is, why not? Like, here's my point. All right, I'm going to pull this up again. D'Angelo Russell, one of my favorite Nets of all time, played 31 minutes. Dariq Whitehead played 15. Why don't you just give all those minutes to Dariq Whitehead? I'm being serious. Like, why
Great
not?
question.
Like, what are you trying to accomplish with the rest of this season? to try to get to 28 wins? Like that's not the goal. Like the goal should be, I'm going to play Timmy, I'm going to play Whitehead, I'm going to play Maxwell Lewis, Keon. I'm going to play all of those guys. I don't even care if you play Zaire that much. We already know what Zaire is. I would imagine we're bringing Zaire back next year. You don't want to play Zaire. Don't play Zaire. We already know we're bringing him back. Let me play Timmy. Let me play Tyson Etzion. Let me play Whitehead. Right? Like, why? I agree with you, Mark. But like, my question is, why isn't he given a minute? At least for the remainder of the season. Let him play 35 minutes a game from here on out. I don't understand what you have to lose.
Right, and at this point, you could probably just rest Zaire, Claxton, Russell, let Keon Wilson be in the starting lineup with Wofford, Timmy, and Whitehead, I guess, and everybody else are bench beats. Let all the young guys get burnt to at least get experience. At this point, it's about getting experience and learning how to play together as a team and see if you could have a role in this team. These other vets that take these extra minutes, they're taking that time away from a guy like Whitehead, who some of you want to see succeed. I think we want to see him succeed too, but if he's not getting the adequate minutes, but they don't trust him, like you just said, Mark, then why is he on this team at that point? If he's not getting those minutes, then we have to move forward and find somebody else to do it. Like at the end of the day, we're trying to find out who the next Nets are, but if the coach that doesn't trust them, then that kind of means that their future is a lot slimmer than we're even talking about right now. And that's unfortunate, but it's the way the NBA works.
I'm really fired up after yesterday's game. Yesterday's game felt like when you go out and you eat 6 slices of pizza and then it's really good. And then immediately you get up off the table and be like, why did I eat that much? That was a horrible idea. That's how I felt at the Nets game yesterday. I love rooting for the Nets. And then when they're cooking the Mavs in front of all their fans, I love, like, you just lost to the Nets. Haha. And then I got like, oh, God, what did I just do? Like, what did I do? And that's just won the game. Like, what did I do? This is not good. We should have done that. That was a very bad idea. Look, Drew should be playing 30 minutes a game at center, and Whitehead should be playing 35 minutes a game as your 2-3. They should both be playing. Claxton, I don't even care if he plays Zaire anymore. I really don't. Like, Zaire proven himself this year. Zaire's proven himself to be an NBA rotational guy. He'd be on a rotation for a good team. He'd be in a rotation. He'd start for a bad team. We know what he is. I'm cool with bringing Zaire back. Good. You can take the rest of the season off. Nick Claxton, please.
You need it. You need it, buddy. You're about to become a dad. Need the time off.
D'Lo, we're not changing our mind on D'Lo. We're either going to offer him a contract. There's nothing D'Lo's going to do over the next 7 games or 6 games, whatever's left, to change your mind. We know what he is. That decision is made. Whitehead and Drew Timmy should both be playing 30 minutes plus per game. There's no reason for them not to be.
Right. And you would hope that this organization will wake up. But at the end of the day, the way the season's ending, it feels like the organization has been stuck like back in time. Like, they still haven't gotten over the big 3 debacle. And every decision this year feels like they're hoping to just try to repeat something like that. But that's why it's also a lot of worry, because we don't have the core pieces right now to make big, crazy moves. But at the end of the day, this organization's mindset is we're doing the right thing because we want to build sustainability. Well, you couldn't even build sustainability doing the tank the right way. Now we're stuck with 6 odds because we didn't rest the vets, because we didn't trust the young guys more. Like, it's crazy. You're supposed to study how other teams do their tanks, or at least variations, to try to come up with your own. I feel this organization doesn't even use the resources to do that right. So at the end of the day, maybe just the organization is just bad at making decisions. Maybe it's a lot more simpler than some people want to admit.
All right, John, you ready to discuss the elephant in the room?
Woo! Yeah, but waiting for it since last night, man.
We've been tippy-toeing around it all day. His name's obviously come up. I don't even need to pull up the tweets. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I don't need to, there's the entire net community, all 100 net fans are talking about Giannis. I don't want to say I'm opposed to it. I need to see the big picture plan, right? Like, okay, explain to me how in the next, like, let's say we got 3 or 4 years left of Giannis, being Giannis. How do we get to a championship in that? Show me the plan, right? Show me your business model here. You know the Nets don't have one at all. You know they don't have a business model. But, like, give me your thoughts on bringing Giannis in here. I think we're going to agree more than we disagree, but I think we're going to disagree on some things. Give me your thoughts on bringing Giannis here in general.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is Brian Windhorst, when the Kevin Durant deal went down, he said the whole NBA world went holy bleep. I think all the Brooklyn fan base said that last night on a rainy, cold night, because nobody was expecting this news to come out, but it came out from Brian Lewis in the Post with multiple league personnel saying that Giannis has always been Plan A. Now, when you say the word Plan A, it means that this was always the goal. So the draft, in hindsight, was Plan B, which confuses me. So if the Mavs and Suns picks, which could have got us Giannis essentially, because those are very valuable picks, why did we trade him for our own picks back? We essentially gave the Rockets away free picks because we were supposed to tank, but Giannis was always plan B and the draft was plan B. Like, I just don't understand what is the end goal here. Like, it feels like we're trying to get to the end goal with Giannis being a part of it, where we gave up a whole bunch of assets that could have got us Giannis. So, yeah, Gary, it's confusing because, listen, at the end of the day, Giannis, superstar player, guys played phenomenal this year. If Giannis wasn't on the Bucks this year, they'd be a playing team at worst. He has carried that team on his back this year, played very exceptional. He did get injured a few times, but when he's been on the court, he's given as much effort as he can, and the guy is gassed out right now. So my worry is if we made this move for Giannis, we're essentially are where the Bucks are, with a whole bunch of young pieces or some veteran pieces where Giannis is the main guy having to do all the heavy lifting. So if there isn't a plan to get a second star, this whole plan A doesn't make a damn lick of sense right now.
Whoever takes Giannis got to take his brother too.
Yeah,
like,
but
that's the least of my concerns. But Mark, I want to get Mark in. Mark, I always appreciate you. You always are willing to walk into the lion's den and punch the lion in the mouth, no matter how much we disagree. So I respect that. I do. So you want in on this? Give me your thoughts on the Giannis situation. Are you for it? Are you against it? What are your thoughts on Giannis?
Either way, I'm good with it. If they want to explore the avenue of bringing in Giannis, then why not? If it, that it's just having options is the main thing. That's essentially what the front office is doing there with that. Like, you can't dismiss that and just, like, if you get the opportunity to grab Giannis, like, why not?
All right. Okay. Let me push back. Let me. If you were saying I was going to be for bringing him, against bringing him, I would make the argument for. Let me make the argument against bringing him in. Because even if you bring him in, you're going to have to trade Cam Thomas in that trade, right? And Clowney are both going to go in that trade.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on what Milwaukee wants and what what the price gets driven up to be.
Pricey
It could
price.
it could be where they just simply say, nah, it's too much of for us to pay, and we're just gonna stick with what we got. Or it could be Giannis is saying Brooklyn is where he wants to be, and then they make it happen. It could go a whole bunch of different ways with that. But you can't just dismiss it and just say, didn't Mark not want to do the Harden trade? No, I was
I
for
didn't
Harden
want to do the
trade.
Harden trade. I didn't want to do the Harden trade. Either one of them. I didn't want to trade for him, and I didn't want to trade him for Ben Simmons.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
against. So I was against both those trades.
It's just a matter of timeline. Like, a lot of things have to line up for it to make sense. Is what I'm saying. Like, who knows? They could maybe Zion is the guy that they end up bringing in and they knock
He's
it
not
out the
plan
park.
A though. That's the only
No, I'm just,
that's the
but
crazy thing.
the I think plan A is having a lot of plans, not just being set on one avenue and it's crash and burn if you don't
But
nail
but
it. You
but
know what I
my
mean?
thing is this though, Mark. I thought Plan A would be the draft and Plan B would be the stars. But the way the Post was reporting last night, this has always been Plan A. Then so my thing is this: then why we give away the Mavs and Suns picks? Those picks right there could have got you Giannis, and we could have drafted well at the same time
That's
if we
just
would have tanked properly. So by not taking properly, because you want to do a fake tank, we essentially potentially screwed ourselves out of a top lottery pick, and we're gonna go get Giannis the same summer or a year from now. Like if he was always Plan A. Why we trade away the valuable picks if this draft was always Plan B? The organization's messaging, Mark, like I've been saying for the last past streams, is all over the damn place. But they're just thinking about end game, which is economic revenue, regardless of winning anything. That's what the ultimate game plan is. This organization, Mark, is that as long as they're making money and putting out a product, it don't matter if we ever reach a finals because people are still going to come see the crazy car wreck or roller coaster ride that is Brooklyn Nets basketball. There you go.
John, did you have the tweet, Dylan's tweet about what a potential offer that the
Yeah,
Nets
I
could
sent it
offer?
to you on Twitter about what they could offer.
Can you pull it up again? Can you try to find it real quick? I
Yeah.
can't find it.
All
Dylan,
right.
if you're listening, can you send me that? Can you hang on? All right. All right. So let me push back, Mark. If we bring Giannis in and we trade Cam Thomas and we trade Clowney and we trade Claxton, right? Because to me that's the trade: Claxton, Clowney, Cam Thomas, and then a bunch of picks. what do we have left? Like, if we have Giannis, we have what are we, a 45, 46 win team at that point?
Like I said, it all depends on a lot of it hinges on the lottery. That's like we
All
all.
right, but if you're drafting a guy in the lottery, he's not going to be ready to. He's not going to be an all-star caliber player. You know what I'm saying? Year one, he's going
No,
to be
you don't. You're
developmental.
not saying an all-star caliber, but you just want an impactful play. Like when we have no guys that like we're devoid of talent. That
Here's my
like
point. Let's say we
it's-
get. Let's say we do great. We draft 3 or 4, and we get Ace Bailey. He has to learn how to play basketball. He doesn't know how to play basketball. He's a great athlete,
it
and he
takes
can
a
hoop.
while.
He
Yeah,
doesn't know how to play basketball, right? Like that's going to be it's going to take time.
so that's what I'm saying. Like it depends on where we end up drafting. Like not even where the lot. Like we could land pick 4 and then somehow we trade into top 2. I think it's the only way it makes sense for Giannis is if we get a top 2 pick, whether we landed in the lottery or we somehow trade up for it. Like it
Right.
doesn't make sense otherwise. Like there's no impactful player, day one starter coming into the NBA right now and out of this draft, other than Harper and Flag, in my opinion. Like maybe they're gonna have their moments, but there's gonna be a lot of growing pains. It's not gonna, you're not automatic contender unless you get in one of those 2 guys and then you have the sustained success rookie
Right.
contract, and it makes sense only in that way. That's
Right.
pretty much what I'm saying.
I want to
Yeah.
share Dylan's post. Dylan just sent it to me. Appreciate you, John, if you were able to pull it, but Dylan literally just sent it to me. What a Giannis to Brooklyn trade looks like this offseason. Bucks received Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, Derek Whitehead, Noah Clowney, BK's 25 first, Milwaukee's 25 first, back to and future first round picks. I can't do this because I'm giving you our 2025 pick. I can give you all of our other picks, but you're not getting that one. And they would want that one, which is why I'm not doing this trade.
Right.
Nets receive Giannis and Bobby Portis, and probably you know what? This is what Dylan thinks. If you like this trade, I'm not doing this trade. John, you go first, and then I want to get to you too, Mark. But what are your thoughts on? I agree that this is probably a problem. I can't do this because I'm giving you up the 2025 first.
Right, but Marcus makes some good points there because I think about this. I feel like the ultimate strategy of the organization was I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to draft well, but I want to get the star and let that young guy grow with the star. And if it all fails, hey, we still got the young star that could eventually develop and had some experience playing with a superstar. So if that's the case, that's why that training session with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey still makes it go, was that by coincidence, or is this all potential part of a long-term setup? Because if you get Ace Bailey to pair him with Giannis to learn under Giannis, because you remember, Ace Bailey learned from Giannis that day, and he had a scrimmage game the following in the evening. He did exactly what Giannis told him to do on the court. So if this is all part of a mastermind plan to get Ace or Harper from Rutgers, one of them, and pair him with Giannis to do something crazy, that's the only way it probably could make sense. But if you don't get either one of those 2 guys or Cooper, it's such a gamble. Essentially, we're relying on Giannis to carry us for 2 to 3 years until he gets unhappy again. Like, if there isn't a second star coming with Giannis, and if it's not an Ace or Harper, this plan A will be a plan 0 very shortly.
If we've got a guy like Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey or Cooper Flag, could it be like a? Go ahead, Mark. Give me your thoughts on what John said.
Nah, it like you said, it only makes sense as if you end up with a top guy to essentially have the Giannis be the superstar to kind of bring him along, and
Right.
that's the only, like, for me, that's the only way it makes sense. Like you're not drafting Maluak and trading for Giannis in the same. It makes 0 sense in that way. Like that scenario makes no sense to me.
Let
So
me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
If they got Giannis, he's got a few years left.
Yeah.
And then I keep if I'm able to keep this pick, if I'm able to keep my 2025 first,
Mhm.
and we get one of the big guys, we get Ace, we get Flag, we get VJ, or we get Cooper, a potential all-star talent player. Does it become a Wade and Shaq scenario where it's like, okay, Wade, you better grow up quick because Shaq's running out of time to get another championship. Like, so you better become a star quick, but we're gonna have a small window here.
Very interesting.
That's a good take on that. But remember, Wade was in Miami before
The
Shaq
ring
got,
was waiting for him more than
and he
some,
did his
right? Yeah.
thing. They made I don't know if they made the second round that year. I remember when he was a rookie and he balled out in the playoffs, and then they brought Shaq in. Like I guess so maybe it's a I just truthfully think I think Giannis like Milwaukee they like this is gonna be they lose in the first round. This is 3 years losing in the first round in a row. Like it's not going to get any better. Neither these guys are getting older. They're right in the second apron. Doc Rivers is your head coach, so you're already, you know,
Screwed.
operating at a handicap when it comes to the playoff time. You know what I mean? So it's tricky, And like I said, like the Bill Belichick method of trade a guy a year early rather than a year too late is the perfect example. Like is right where Milwaukee needs to do it. Like that, their pick next year is a swap with New Orleans. So like,
Give me 1 minute, guys. You guys cook on this. I gotta help my wife with the bags real quick. You guys talk.
All
You
right.
guys debate.
But yeah, Mark, like that's the only way this whole crazy convoluted plan makes sense is that if Ace, Harper, and Cooper are coming to Brooklyn, then you get the stars.
yeah,
Like, okay, even if we don't win with Giannis next 2 or 3 years, he will help develop that star. And if you trade Giannis for a haul, hey, we got another haul and we got our star prospect of the future. But most people are gonna go, that's so ass backward when you could have just tanked for 2 years and done it the organic way. But I think I said this to somebody today. The NBA business owners and managers, they play a completely different game than what is played on the court and what we play outside of that. And they are about the money. How can I get the most economic revenue? Getting Giannis there in Brooklyn, especially when Joe Desai wants to change up Barclays and make it all, very futuristic looking, you're going to sell out a lot on a night to night basis.
of
So
course.
even if the result isn't a title, we make economic revenue. Hey, and we do get a star prospect in this draft, but still, a lot of people want this team to actually have a legit shot to win, not just do this for economic revenue and to sell tickets. Like,
No,
there's
no, no,
no
no.
point in doing that.
I don't think it's just solely economic, but like I've been to a few Bucks games at Barclays.
Mhm.
It's fucking packed. You know what I mean? I've been to Mavs games at Barclays when Luca was on the Mavs. It's packed. Like there's certain guys that are just draws. Like no matter where you're playing, you could be playing. When the Warriors are in town, it doesn't matter if you're playing in New Orleans or Charlotte or Indiana or MSG or Staples. It's packed.
Right.
That's you know what I mean? You're selling jerseys, kid. You know what I mean? So Giannis is one of those guys. So like that for that reason, and it's not even just on his aura and his name and brand. It's impact too, man. That's fucking Giannis, 2-time MVP. Finals MVP. He
Right.
a freak physical specimen. You know what I mean? And he's still in the prime of his career. It's just not working out with Milwaukee right now. A
Yeah.
lot of his injuries, untimely injuries, and just
The
you know.
Kuzma deal was a dud. Like, that's not going to save you. They're not going to keep Giannis there
Yeah, but
any
they didn't really give up
longer.
much in that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it kind of saved them a little bit of money too with getting off of Middleton. Middleton he's washed. He's not 2021
Right.
beating
Right.
the
But we
Nets
also
in the
got to be
second round.
honest too
Middleton.
about this. This again, we're getting honest, is the calf. Like, the thing is, he's had to play so many minutes the last few years for the Bucks, and that calf takes a toll given how much he has to do athletically and physically. So it's like, if we get him, if you have to get a second star, whether that's in the draft to grow and develop or to get it somewhere in the market, because Giannis can't be the sole guy on his team playing
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes a night. Not
No.
be able to get at least a 5 to 6 minute break consistently, because
Yeah.
if that happens, that calf's going to go and we're screwed with Giannis at that point. I don't want that for Giannis. Like, if we get Giannis, there has to be safety nets. There has to be a secondary star that's going to come a year from now, or that star's coming in
But
the
look,
draft. So the Nets have to do work if they want to
from
make Plan A happen.
from the options or think like hypotheticals that people have
Mm-hmm.
thrown out there, LaMelo Ball, Zion Williamson, Trey Young,
Giannis is the only one that could make
he's the
sense for
safest
Giannis.
bet. I
That's
mean,
crazy. That's crazy to me.
yeah, he's the oldest, but he's the safest bet in terms of what you're gonna get. Is he gonna be
Mhm.
available? Like what? He's the safest bet out of all those guys. That's what I'm saying as far as Giannis is concerned.
Right.
And
But
and
Young's due
but
for an extension, though. I think he's due for, I think Gary, you said it's 60 mil. Are we going to pay him 60 and Giannis 50? Like, that's like 100, $110 million. So that means the Nets would have to get a very fine tuned
no, but what
bench to put
it's
on
it's
those two
it's
guys.
exactly like you and I are saying though. It don't like if you're paying like if your two main guys if
Mm-hmm.
is Dylan Harper and Giannis, you don't care about paying Giannis 60 million
Right,
because you're
right,
paying Dylan Harper 10 million.
right.
So essentially you're paying 70 million for your two superstars who are,
Mm-hmm.
one's in the prime of his career and one's gonna be head
Just getting
on a
started.
high.
Right, right,
Exactly. That it makes sense in that regard. And then you fill out the roster around them. Cam Johnson, he's not being asked to do too much. He's filling that fourth option guy. Let's
I
trade
missed a
for
bunch of what you
teams.
guys were talking about, but me and John off air talking about if they traded for Giannis, then they would have to try to trade for Trae Young, try to get
right.
Trae Young with Giannis. And I don't think that's a championship team on in and of itself. And now you've traded everything to get those two guys, and like you're going to be a 3 seed in the East and get bounced in the second round. To me, like if you have Trae and Giannis and nothing else, you are very similar to what Milwaukee has right now. Right, which is,
Right. And what is
and
your
it's
bench going to
fine, it's
look like
okay.
at that
It's
point?
not even close to a championship team. So like this is why like I just don't see how Giannis makes sense for us because we don't have anything to put around him. And if you trade for Trae, now you've gutted your entire
Nah, I
team.
don't. It only makes sense, I think, if it's through the draft, if it's flag, maybe even H to
Right.
some degree. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way I see it making sense for a fit, timeline,
Right.
and what you're giving up for him. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, cap relief. Milwaukee. It depends on what Milwaukee wants to do. Like if they want to just hold on to him, run it back, and try to make their first playoff run with Giannis and Dame next year, and hope that it works out. Hey, that's wishful thinking on their part. But then, like I said, you run the risk where it doesn't work again next year, and now you
Right.
have one. Giannis is a year older, 1 year less on his deal. What he has less value for trade. That's really what it comes down to. It's Milwaukee's game. What
Right.
what they want to do.
Right. And if you made the move for Young, you essentially would have to capitalize on that 4-year
Yeah,
timeline you've been talking about, Gary.
I
Because
I
if you
don't
have
think.
him making
Yeah,
60 and Giannis making 50, that bench, either it's
yeah,
good or
nah,
it's really horrible, and those two guys are going
nah.
to have to carry you to these conference finals. So if we don't get a star prospect in this draft and they
Yeah,
go for plan A, we're screwed. But if they get a Cooper Race or Harper somehow, if that 6 pick could somehow fall in top 3, which it hasn't done since they changed the system, then it would make sense. But right now, I want to say this just very quickly. Somebody sent me this. The last 6 years, that pick has been 6, 7, 8, or 9. Not once has it dropped under 5. So either the system is in the Nets' favor this year, or they do plan A and we're screwed. So the draft really will decide what we do.
the
And if we
latter.
don't get
Yeah.
high in that draft, this plan A, it's going to have some pretty
But
bad
but not for
consequences at
nothing
that
too.
point.
Like
Go ahead.
who's to say like if we end up with the fourth pick, let's say hypothetically, who's to say that a team that lands the second pick doesn't want to trade back and get more draft like you know what I mean? Like th- it's not like the '03 draft where Denver wasn't moving out of the third. Like, it was Melo, LeBron. Like you had that pick. You're like nobody's trading the number one pick if they get Cooper Flag. Like that's it. It doesn't matter if it's Utah, Alaska, anybody. Like if
No
you
one's
land the
trading that.
number
Yeah,
one, it
and
you're
that's why. Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you guys this because I want to get to this and we're running a little bit out of time. I want to get to the other two guys. John Morant. There's obviously a lot going on in there. I still don't understand why they fired their coach. That made zero sense to me. I don't understand it, but obviously something's going on in there. Trading for John Morant, I think, actually makes some sense. I think he fits our time frame. If we don't have to trade our 2025 one, anything that includes trading our 2025 one, I'm out on. Anything. I'm not trading that pick. But can we get Ja without trading that pick? And what would a package look like? And would you guys be for that?
Uh,
Here.
I'll go first real quick. I think John Morant would be a plan B option if the Nets somehow wake up and realize maybe plan A isn't the best, especially if you don't get a top pick. Whereas with Ja, the situation Memphis is getting very toxic. I mean, I've seen at least like 7 or 8 John Morant posts in the last 9 hours since they lost again. Like, at the end of the day, the reason why Coach James got fired is because that Memphis front office, they're in complete control. The coach and the star have no real say, which is rare because you see in most team constructions, the stars and the coaches have a lot of autonomy. Whereas with Memphis, the only autonomy is coming from the top. top down. So Jenkins tried to go against that. He got fired. And Ja basically saying, if I can't run the offense and at least be part of 50% of the offense, I'm just standing in the corner. Why should I be part of the system? Let's think about this. Ja Morant is not a three-point shooter. If he's just standing in the corner, nobody's going to give him the ball to shoot threes. So he's essentially wasting minutes, playing main minutes, and he's only averaging around 20 points. He wants to get that 30, 40 because he wants to be the best player on that team. So I feel like the front office is trying to think about his long-term health, but John Morant don't care about his health. He cares about his legacy. So I think the situation is getting very toxic, and if the front office will not let Ja have a say, I think he's out there in a year or two, especially if he's due for an extension this summer. When Jackson Jr. getting a $300 million extension, and I don't see him as a secondary star, I don't see anywhere where that Memphis and Ja relationship will continue past this year. So Morant could be an option, especially since you have Claxton Zaire. I call him the Ja Taraj. Like, he has people he has connections with. He could run this offensive system with Jordy, who would trust him, and I think he would have fun with Brooklyn. But do the Nets, are they willing to look past his baggage and really invest in him? That's the only thing I'm still unsure about right now with Ja.
We're gonna get the number 10 pick. If that's the case,
Oh,
I'll trade the pick for Ja. If that's true, then I'll trade the pick
Knock
for
it
Ja.
nipple for Ja. Let's do it. Let's make the headlines.
Mark, what is a trade haul? What does it look like? What do we need? If I said Cam Thomas, Clowney, how many more picks do I have to give you to bring in Ja Morant? 3 more ones, or what does the trade look like for Ja?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I like John Morant as a player. I love watching him. I just don't trust him to be a franchise guy like that. He's just shown immaturity. His build. He's very small
No.
frame. You know, like it's just I just don't. And the way he attacks the
But
rim.
we can get to whether or not you like the trade in a minute. I'm saying,
Oh, so what do I
what
think
would it
that?
look like? Yeah.
I think you gotta.
Cam
I
Thomas
think
is gone, obviously. Clowney's gone. So that's
Cam
and
Johnson.
I
then
don't
how
think
many
that
picks?
like for what we have, I don't even think we would be like what would intrigue like Memphis isn't gonna like they're a small market. They have to. It's not like Milwaukee. They won theirs already, and now they're trying to reset everything. Like Memphis is still competing. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain. They just drafted the kid Edie. Like they have to go for it to something. And what we have, what are we gonna give them? Cam Johnson, like it.
Well, Cam Thomas and Clowney, right? What we were starting with, and then we'd give them a bunch of picks so that they can remain relevant,
I don't
right?
think.
So I would say, what if we did this? Cam Thomas, Noah Clowney, 3 ones. So let's say Milwaukee's pick, our pick next year, and then a 2031 pick, something like that.
It depends on where in the lottery we land. You know that like
Well,
for
no,
me,
I'm not trading him our one this year. I'm saying Milwaukee's pick. Milwaukee's
oh
pick, our
Milwaukee's
pick. So Milwaukee's pick, our 2026, and a 2031 pick, or something like that. Would you do
make
that?
yeah, I guess yeah, I would if we don't land Dylan Harper and you want to put Morant as the point guard, I'd be okay with that. I guess it's just risky. It's risky.
But I'm assuming in this that we don't get Giannis or Dylan Harper. If we get Giannis or Dylan Harper, like that changes everything. I mean, Giannis, Cooper Flag or Dylan Harper. If we get one of those two guys, I'm gonna just stay put, maybe suck this year, and then try again the lottery next year because I think I have my star. Right? If I
Yeah.
don't get one of those two guys, I'm getting a good player, but I'm not getting a star. So now I need to try to get my star, or via the trade.
Essentially, if we end up with Harper, or like if we win the lottery, how you got to look at it is kind of like San Antonio, what they did with Wemby. All right, they ran it with him. Just they develop, see what you got. They ended up the next year with Castle, and then the following year, 6 months later, they made their move for De'Aaron Fox. Like that's the right way to go about it. But that all hinges on landing the Wemby. The lottery determines the next move that you make. That's
There's no Wemby in this draft, though, right? Not all draft classes are equal,
yeah,
right?
correct,
So there's
correct.
no. I don't see a guy that's going to change your franchise and make you a contender for years to come. Although I think both those guys, Harper and Flagg, are very, very good. I think they'll be all-star players. They aren't franchise-changing guys like, when Zion came into the league, when Wemby came into the league, when certain guys come into the league, all eyes are on them, and they expect to change your franchise. I don't think Flagg or Harper are those guys. Well, I think they could be all-stars. I think they're good.
You think they'd be all stars? You're just not sold on them being superstars, like changing that's Flag is generational. He's on the
I think
cheer.
Flagg's going to be really good. I think he's passed a lot of barometers, but I know what Gary's saying. Gary's trying to say like the worst case scenario where he'll still be good, but he won't be great. I think he has potential to be great. I think Harper too. Ace might take a little longer, but I think he'll eventually get there. I think all top three of those guys are going to have long futures in the NBA. That's right. But the worst part is we have the sixth odds right now. We're in the worst position possible with that pick because for the last 6 years, it hasn't fallen out of 6 through 9. They would have to take an anomaly this year for that pick to get us a top lottery pick. Like, that's why we were talking so much about lottery standings. Like, the way this organization ran things, they put us in the worst position possible with one of the worst takes ever. Now we have to hope this all changes and we can execute plan A, B, C, whatever the hell it is this summer.
I'll tell you what
It's
though,
gonna be wild.
we can't keep doing the lottery. Like it's been so toxic. It's crazy. Everybody knows everything. Nobody knows nothing. It's crazy. What is he saying? No American basketball player has come out of college with the impact Flag has. His offense is taking leaps game after game. He's the real deal. Nah, he has shown me a lot more than
He
what I
gets better every
expected.
game he plays. Too. That's what
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
see as an
yeah,
18-year-old. He gets better. It's like a fighter who you bring up. He turned pro when he's
Right.
17, and he starts to look better as the competition gets better. He looks better every single fight. That's what Cooper Flagg has shown me, which is exactly what you want to see. When Cooper Flagg first couple of games with Duke, I was like, yeah, I get it, but he's not really that. He's not what he's made out to be. And now I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's the real deal, man. This guy
Yeah, he
is what
is.
we were told that he was.
yeah. That I mean, he has shown a lot of upside and growth. You know,
He's hitting the three now. He's consistent with his jump. He came in the league like, well, he can't shoot.
his
And if you
footwork,
can't
his
shoot,
footwork.
then
Watch his footwork.
yeah,
And that's where you see like, okay, no, this kid is ready to go.
he's gotten like he gets better every fight, which is what you want to see. So,
Yeah.
um, I get it, but like, is he gonna have like Wemby and Zion and LeBron came into the league? They're physical wonders. They're marvels, right? Like guys built like them, or this aren't supposed to be able to do what they do. Cooper Flagg kind of has that prototypical NBA body. You know what I'm saying? Like Zion, 6'6", built like a linebacker, quickest feet in the league. It's like, well, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be. LeBron James came into the NBA looking like that, right? Like he's bringing the best basketball body in the world at 18, right? With the best athlete we've ever seen of a guy that size. Wemby is 7'3" and can handle like you know what I'm saying? They're just different. Cooper Flagg really fits the mold. 6'8", 6'9". He fits the mold of what you want an NBA player.
We've seen great wings that look like the way Cooper Flag looks like. We never saw a LeBron. We never saw a Wemby. We never saw a Zion. So
Right.
that's in that regard.
And then the last thing, so the Ja trade. You guys would all be out on the Ja trade too. If it was what we said, 2025 one, 2020, the Bucks pick this year, our pick next year, a 2031 hypothetically, and then Cam Thomas and Noah Clowney. Would you guys be out on that trade?
Yeah, I'm not giving 25 lottery. I would give at worst I give the 26 one just because like we're not going to get somebody from that draft. If you get Ja, you have to hope whoever you get from this draft can be complementary to what he does. Like you get Common Mallywalk or a scoring guard that can benefit Morant's style. That I think that's a win-win right there. But if you get that 25 first, like it's really John Morant and whoever you could find in free agency this summer. I don't think that's really going to benefit his game with us. So I wouldn't give up the 25 first. I give at worst the 26 first, which is even worse too.
I'm saying not our pick, not our pick. The Bucks pick is what I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah, Bucks pick fine because if that's the best, yeah, I'm totally down for that. And at the end of the day, if you
So,
could
let me
eventually
just.
get a second star with Ja, that would be
I want to be
interesting.
clear. I want to be clear with what the trade that I'm the hypothetical I'm making up.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks pick this year,
Mm-hmm.
our pick next year,
Mm-hmm.
a 2031, a future first round pick, and Cam Thomas and Clowney for Ja. Would you do that trade?
Yeah, I'd be open to it, but I think you have to throw in another salary filler, maybe Johnson, just to make it all work. But yeah, I'd be open
Yeah,
to
okay,
it.
yeah. I can't put Cam. I can't put Cam. I need a shooter. If it's
I
Cam, now I'm rebuilding. Uh,
well, you got to
I
think of
can't be left with nothing. I gotta have some role players that's on my
right,
team.
right, but you got to think about in the sign and trade. Thomas has to match Morant's
Yeah,
salary. Is Memphis going to pay Thomas the same
Well, no,
salary they're giving him? That's the
yeah.
only problem right there. That's why you have to throw it to Johnson to make the salaries work.
you're
That's
right.
why
I
you would
can't
do
give
it,
you everything though.
right?
Like if I'm getting Ja, I'm looking to be relevant. I'm not. I'm not tanking because A, I've given you my 2026 pick, so I can't tank, and B, I got Ja Morant. Like I'm looking to do something. And now if I give you my Cam Johnson, and we all agree Cam Johnson's overpaid except for Mark, which is crazy. But he certainly has a role. He certainly makes a good team better. He's just overpaid for it. Leaf is here. Leaf, Giannis trade and Ja trade. What are your thoughts?
Um, I'm more focused on the jaw trade. The reason being is because the Memphis, as you all know, the Memphis Grizzlies, they did the unthinkable. They fired a coach 9 games before the playoffs.
Uh,
I don't think nobody saw that coming. I don't know what went down. I haven't spoken to any Memphis Grizzlies creators. Have probably know maybe like 2 or 3 of them. Haven't spoken to anybody. Haven't looked at any articles. But all I know is that the Memphis Grizzlies was one of the they decided that they wasn't gonna wait till I guess the quote unquote Steph and LeBron got about it out of the league and waited their turn. You know what I'm saying? And it seems to be a pattern with certain championship teams. When the Warriors and I guess this is still speak on the Memphis side of things. When the Warriors won a championship, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, and Kobe Bryant was on their way out. The reason why mentioned them 3 players is because them 3 players basically dominated the West. Before that, up until I say maybe the OKC, the Thunder, was probably the only team that really put the 2012 Thunder was probably the only team that put a monkey wrench in that because they had one of the greatest runs to a finals. Had they would have won that, they probably would have been the greatest championship ever. Because if you look at the teams that they had to beat, they faced a surefire Hall of Famer all the way up until LeBron's big 3 in Miami. So the Memphis Grizzlies, they basically cut ties. They said no to Taylor Jenkins. They probably gonna say no to the 330 million that they're supposed to give to Triple J if he wins another Defensive Player of the Year, and they probably gonna say no to John Morant too. So that looks to me like another small market franchise that's going to be blown up. I wouldn't mind taking John Morant. John Morant kind of got somewhat of a friendly contract. Zion has a friendlier contract, but the injuries is just like too severe. They both fit somewhat of a timeline. They like mid 20s, 24, 25, give or take. Um, Giannis is still Giannis with his supposed injuries is still a top 5 player in this league, top 3, maybe still top 2 at best, top 3 at best. The way that the season has been going, but no Nets fan wants to take a chance on that. I didn't give that any motion. Actually, the realistic reason why I came up in here is because I have a theory that the reason why Drew Timmy is getting clocked now is because the Nets are trying to draw in more of a Caucasian fan base, knowing that they're going to get Cooper Flag in the draft.
Oh man, that is a fantastic theory. Can we just
Somebody
go? Can
told
we
me.
just talk about the kid playing well? I don't want to make this about Caucasian men skin color. I
So
really don't.
somebody, no,
It's
no,
so
no. The
idiotic.
reason, nah, John. The reason why I said that, somebody told me that last night, and I had to think to myself. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, why is Drew Timmy getting clocked right now?
Now,
They was
you
like,
know what theory makes sense, Leave? Your theory about Sean and Joe being puppet heads where the NBA saying, if we give you Cooper, Ace, Harper, get Giannis, have you superstar, have you star of the future, make us a whole lot of money. I think your theory is way more spot on than that crappy theory because that's the way this plan A is looking, man. It doesn't make any sense to us, but to the organization, if they want to make money and the NBA is going to reward them with a prospect, oh, just do it then. Have all the cake and eat it too, regardless if you never get it to a finals. That's what this whole thing feels like. Your theory
well,
makes some sense, man, on that one.
I would say if any event we end up getting Cooper and then end up bringing Giannis or said Ja Morant here,
Yeah.
or like. At the end of the day, at least we still got Cooper. I mean, if the Giannis thing implodes, if the Giannis the situation implodes, or the Ja Morant situation implodes, or the Zion situation implodes, whatever the case may be, you still got Cooper, and
Right.
we still got picks from other teams.
Right.
It ain't the worst.
Gary
It
brought up
ain't.
an interesting point. He says that this could be similar to when Shaq went to Miami to play with Wade. Wade was younger, and it was like, okay, you got this superstar talent. You have to win very quickly in your career. Do you think that the D Wade and Shaq combo is kind of what Brooklyn hopes to aim with a Giannis pairing with one of these top three? Could that be what this organization is trying to come up with?
I put it to you this way. Listen, if you're telling me that somebody in the NBA front office is basically taking the wheel and giving Sean Marks uh basically like basically Google Maps while he's sitting basically Google Maps. If you're telling me
I
that
believe
somebody
that. So let's not April Fools, man.
If you're telling me that somebody in the NBA front office is basically giving Sean Marks Google Maps to basically steer the road, hey, I'm not mad at it. I mean, listen, look, I'm biased enough to be okay with it. I'm gonna acknowledge that it happened. That somebody in the front office basically gave us a lifeline and said, here go Coop. All right, go ahead, go make the Giannis trade. I mean, how did Luca get to the Lakers, bro? Like it was the
Right.
NBA. You know what I'm saying? Everybody thinks it was Dallas, bro. Like no, Dallas. The NBA put somebody in that Dallas front office to make it happen because they knew Mark Cuban wasn't going to do it. Mark Cuban was in trouble with Bitcoin, and then he had to get up out. The second that he got up out, the NBA was like, "Okay, yo, go ahead, Mr. Harrison, you're free to go. Go ahead. You gonna give us Luca, right? Yeah, you gonna give Luca to LA, right? Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, you can have that job. Hey, don't worry about the fan base. We'll give you extra security. Don't worry about
I
that, man.
do
Like,
have this sneaking suspicion that Cooper is going to end up in one of two places: San Antonio or Brooklyn. If he goes to San Antonio, you've got your team of the
ah,
future. You've got him with Wemby. You've got your
all
Euro
Oh
player. You've got
man.
your American star. You've got
Gary.
them both together for years to come.
Yeah,
Or you can send him. Yeah.
Let's shut down that San Antonio ish right now, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, if the NBA gift wraps Cooper flag to San Antonio, you might as well call in the FBI. You might as well call in Central Intelligence Agencies. You might as well
Here's,
call in the DEA. There's
here's the
no
thing:
way.
the
There's
NBA,
no way.
the NBA is allowed to rig
That is
their
way
own
too
lottery.
blatant, bro. Like,
It
I
is
listen.
so blatant. But like, you know what else is blatant? LeBron James going to Cleveland. Derrick Rose going to Chicago. Zion Williamson going to the team that needed to be sold. Right? Like these things are blatant too.
That was AD going to the team that needed to be
Was
sold.
that
But
AD?
Zion,
Okay, it was AD. Yeah.
Zion was supposed to go, you know where, but the NBA said, "Yo, we gave y'all number one pick, but y'all kind of screwed it up in the '90s, man. Yeah, so like
Grudges.
I don't think we're gonna give y'all one again, bro. Everybody, listen. If you go back to that year, everybody knows that the New York Knicks were supposed to get the number one pick. But the NBA said no. But you know why they said no? Because they don't believe in the Knicks. The Knicks is already making top three worldwide money. Because of Madison Square Garden, they didn't need anybody. They still selling out, bro. Their games are still selling out. When they had Lance Thomas, they didn't care. Like the Knicks is probably the most marketable is marketable franchise, whether they win it or not. Our case is somewhat different. We've managed to get Katie and Kyrie and get a boost, and we're probably going to get another boost from the NBA front office. Somebody in the
That's
NBA front office has decided to be the navigation system for Sean Marks and basically
that.
give him
That's
Google
what.
Maps while he's driving.
That's the
So
only
he
way it
got
makes
so he
sense.
got
Here's my
That's the
even
only
if
which
here's
way
my
it makes
prediction.
sense.
Here's my
he's like,
prediction.
all right, Sean, we're
Both
gonna
the
make a
Nets.
left right here. Okay,
Here's my
Sean, we're gonna go straight up and then we're gonna go right. Okay, we're gonna go slow. Okay, Sean, come on. All right, just wheel it 40 miles per hour. Don't worry about it. We got you. And
here's my
sometimes you need help, bro.
Here's my prediction: both the Nets and the Spurs draft in the top 3. That's my prediction.
That would be
The
something. I
Nets
mean,
and the Spurs draft in the top.
Top
Oh my
3.
God.
So
Oh
the
no.
Nets, the Spurs, and some other team,
If
probably
the
Utah.
if the Spurs get a top 5 pick, bruh, it's a crime. You already, bruh. Outside of OKC, the Spurs and us, bruh, have the second and third most uh, 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 um the second and third most draft stock in the next couple of years. Like the Spurs are not weak in draft stock. They just gift wrapped them De'Aaron Fox, and they didn't even have to give up Stephon Castle or
right.
Keldon Williams, or
You
Keldon
also
Johnson, bro.
got
Like
Please.
Wemby, who is
they
the
just
biggest.
gift wrapped them. Why are you still giving them pieces?
Yo,
We don't
listen.
even know if Greg Popovich is gonna be alive in the next 5
Leave.
years.
Here's my thing. When the NBA has a super team, Kobe and Shaq, Michael's Bulls, the Warriors, ratings do better. If I gift wrap,
But they didn't. But the NBA didn't build it. The
the
Lake.
NBA. Okay, here's another thing. The Lake, not the Lake, the Magic. After Shaq's rookie year, they missed the playoff by a tiebreaker. Indiana beat them out on a tiebreaker for the 8th seed. They drafted second and got Penny Hardaway, the exact piece they needed to put
they drafted number
They
one and
drafted
got.
Weber,
They
and then they
drafted
got
number one and got Chris Webber, and then they
and
traded
they
for Penny
traded him.
Hardaway,
Yeah.
which is number 3.
So
I
they got
understand what you're.
it's
I
better. They got
understand what you're
Hardaway and
saying.
draft capital to build around Shaq. So it was actually
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but they did it for that 2 years, and then they left Orlando alone, and then said, "All right, yo, y'all on y'all own. Y'all got it right. Okay, cool." Then the Chicago Bulls never had the help that anybody had, bro. Remember when they got Michael Jordan, bro? They didn't even get Michael Jordan in the lottery. The lottery was next year when they started controlling it, bro. When they gave it to the Villanova, the New York Knicks, then now known as the Villanova Tangerines. So the thing is, bro, and back in 1985 when they did do it, bro, when they asked David Stern, bro, was it fixed, bro? Like he said in quote to his dying breath, bro, because God rest his soul. He said, "Yo, if they want to say it's fixed, it's fine, just as long as they spell our name right." So he didn't care, bruh.
Yo,
This man is running when you're running the LLC, you don't even care. You don't even care, bruh.
Leaf, if the NBA plays real life NBA 2K and gift wraps us a top lottery pick and lets us get Giannis imagine we get Giannis for essentially nothing really. We give him maybe like 4 first round picks and
All right,
Giannis or whatever. Like imagine they gift wrap that to us.
okay.
That would be insane. Like that would be I don't even know if fan base would be happy with. I think they would be more pissed off. Like, that would be something.
I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, listen, Giannis wasn't even my like. I'm not even giving the
Guys,
Giannis thing no pressure.
I got a major announcement. Breaking news: Ace back to Rutgers.
What?
Yeah, right.
Hang on, let me check the
Tell me it's April Fool's. Tell me it's April Fool's,
Yeah,
Gary.
that-
Let Shampoo
It's
pull.
April Fool's.
Let me check.
It's April Fool's. You don't sign a deal with Nike and then go
Yo.
back to
Not
Rutgers. Get out
NBA
of here.
Central, not Central.
That's NBA Central, bro. Yeah, you butt crack sports, bro.
Damn.
That's what it
Gary, you
was.
got caught live.
Butt crack sports.
Yo! Oh my God, Gary! Nah, but I got an announcement, guys. I'm gonna be taking time off from the show. I don't know if I'm coming back, guys, but it's been real, right? Be good.
April Fools. April Fools.
All right.
No, I'm serious. I'm out. Says who? Says who?
Everybody want to play jokes, bro. I mean, I guess this is the day to do it, bro. Listen, look. If the NBA, if the NBA listen, they're doing anything for ratings, and they're not even trying to hide it. You know, like, bro.
This is cat because why would he go back to Rutgers? If anything, he would transfer. He wouldn't go back to Rutgers.
Yo, LM did that yesterday with Breezy, man. LM did that at Breezy. As he said, Brunt said season-ending ankle surgery. I'm looking at every source, and it's like literally nothing about the guy. Like LM got them last night, man. He started early with that crap.
Everybody keep talking about the basketball gods, bro. The basketball gods, that basically means the NBA front office in code. That's all it really means. That like the basketball gods are not doing anything. The basketball gods, it's like the TVA when you was watching Loki, bro, on the Disney Network, bro. Like, come on, it doesn't exist. Like the basketball, if you telling me that the NBA front office is gonna give the dumbest front office probably in basketball history the number 1 overall pick and Giannis, bro. Like, I have a hard time believing this, bro. Oh my god.
I do too, but Leaf, this is the crazy thing. Right now, the way everything's set up for Brooklyn, it's so horrible. The tank was successful. The draft was never plan A, it was plan B. And we have the sixth pick, which has not dropped under 5 in 6 years. So the only way we're out of this is if the NBA does us a favor.
John,
This is going to be crazy.
at no point outside of maybe a month of the season did the Nets really try to tank. They're still
Never
there's
did.
7 games left in the season.
Yeah.
They're eliminated. They're still trying to win games.
They're still playing D'Lo.
I don't understand this at all.
Well,
Yesterday
yesterday that wasn't our fault, bro. We didn't know an injured AD and an injured Daniel Gafford was gonna play. We were preparing probably for Kai Jones and PJ Washington and some other players that they were bringing. Nobody knew. They had no business playing AD. They had no business playing Daniel Gafford. Those dudes were clearly out there sabotaging. AD was turning the ball over in the fourth quarter. He wasn't interested in the game. He was lackadaisical, bro. Like, I honestly believe that the Mavs threw that game, bro. Like, I'll be honest
Why
with
would
you.
the Mavs throw the game?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know why the Mavs would throw the game. I don't know.
They saw Gary in the
floater
stands.
that
And they're like, we
Davis
gotta
put out.
lose.
I don't know. I don't know why the Mavs would play two clearly injured players this late in the season and try to get. And they know they're not going to the playoffs. They know they're not beating Minnesota. They know they're not beating the Clippers or Golden State. I don't understand why the Mavs are even suiting up for anything. I don't. Maybe because they got fined 2 years ago when they tried to rest Luka and Kyrie after the trade deadline when they got Kyrie. I don't know. All I know is, bro, like, the only time we ever really win games is when teams play down to us. We got 25 wins over teams playing down to us, bro. Like,
Right.
we can't beat none of these teams.
None of them. No, I agree. Maybe Washington, but we've lost most of our.
We
games
couldn't even beat Washington. When
Yeah.
Washington played for real, they manhandled us.
Washington is the only team at our level, and they've beaten us. So we probably. I've always said we have the second worst roster. We might have the worst. We might have the worst.
Like, come on, bro. When Charlotte played for real, they competed with us. It was a game. When these other teams, bro, take us seriously, bro, they know they could beat us by double digits and they sleep. We don't have no team. We got the most G League call-ups probably in an 82 game season than any other team that you could think of. You could go to the Miami Heat when they had Caleb Martin and all of them other dudes that got paid from other teams. You could go to any of them teams. And we only in this decade, we have had the most call-ups in a season from the G League, bro. And we only in 2025. I guarantee you, not another team is gonna call up as many G League players as the 2024-25 Nets. I'm telling you. And the only reason
tanking.
it is ethical tanking, bro. And
It's not. But they want us to think that is. No, but you know what's crazy?
it is.
Remember the Hornets game? We're up like 14 points the whole game. Then that last fourth quarter, we purposely were losing some. That's the problem this year. They were fluctuating too damn much. We were overperforming. Then we have to purposely underperform. Hey, let's overperform and get the playing seed. Hey, let's drop backwards. Like, that's the problem this year. If the draft was never plan A, why do we give the Rockets all that free draft capital? I don't understand if the whole plan was to get a star at the end of the day.
The season never ever made sense. It never made sense. Not.
I never listen, bro. Be honest, it never made sense because we never expected Mikal to go for 5 unprotected first. Nobody expected that to show up. Nobody had that showed up, bro. You think Sean Marks drew up that deal? Hell no, it fell into his lap. That's what happened, bro. We were supposed to go into the season with a new coach, Mikal dumbass, and Cam Johnson, bro. We probably would have made the play-in. I would have been cool with that. I'm all right. I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
Why are we going for something that we not good at in the first place? We not good at drafting no damn high picks. We never was. Bro, you could go back and look at Sean Marks' history back in the Spurs. Who did he draft early on in the draft?
Right,
Did John Murray?
He was an assistant coach with the Spurs organization.
Yeah. Yeah, so even when he was in the front office, bro, when he was an assistant, what did they draft?
No, but he was
When
a coach with the Spurs, not
right,
How
right,
does
right,
Marks
right,
have
right.
Guys,
all
He
this
was a
job
coach with the
I
security?
Spurs.
gotta wrap this up. I had to wrap this up 6 minutes ago. I gotta wrap this up. I gotta wrap this up. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
fun show
man.
today. Man. This
till
was a
next
great
time,
show
man.
today.
The rants is crazy, bro. Like Drew Timmy is drawing in the Caucasian fan base so we could get
I
cool.
can't believe that theory, Leaf. I like your theory about the puppet
Why else
head
is
being
he
that
up?
front
Why else is
office.
he
I like
playing?
that better.
His parents showed up to the game yesterday in Dallas.
So does
Like,
everybody else's family. It's
Wait,
normal.
hang on. He's from Dallas.
no.
He's from 10 minutes away.
30% of that Dallas crowd yesterday was people that knew Drew Timmy.
He did have his people. I met his brother and sister after the game. I met his aunt and uncle after the game too.
You should invite him on the show, Gary. I'm so mad
His
at
brother
you.
and sister. I don't know what he tells me his brother and sister. I gotta wrap up, guys.
And I'm calling it now. Drew Timmy need to be starting the rest of the season over Nick Claxton, bro. Why is Nick Claxton playing? Why is
Thank you,
Cam
Leaf.
Johnson
About
playing?
time.
All right,
Woo.
y'all.
I'm
All
only
right, good
saying that
show.
because Nick Claxton was sorry yesterday. That's why.
All right. April 1st, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank you and God bless.
All right.